What's up, fellow travelers? My name is Katie, and today's video, I want to show you how I ditched caffeine, why I did such a crazy thing, and the surprising effects and not so surprising effects it had in my life. I'll be honest, I know exactly who the target audience for this video is. It's all of you out there that want to quit caffeine, and I know because I was one of them. When I was trying to quit, I would go on YouTube and search for stories of people that had quit and try to get inspiration. So here's to all you quitters out there, here's my story. If you don't know who I am, my name is Katie Lynn. I'm a 45-year-old energy healer and a mom of 5 and a wife of one wonderful husband. To tell you the truth, my life was not always the bright and shiny blessing that it is today. In fact, before 2016, my life was a hot mess, that's the truth. In 2016, I began my awakening. This channel is about how I healed my life and my energy, and quitting coffee was just one of those things. I hope it inspires you and that you find a place here among my tribe. So why did I quit caffeine? I've been drinking coffee since my tender teen years. I'm 45 years old now, and so I have about 30 years caffeinated. And I know it looks like I'm caffeinated right now, but I'm not, I promise you. I've had 6 months free of caffeine. My daily coffee intake had escalated anywhere from 1 cup a day to mostly 2 cups a day and even occasionally 3 cups a day. I started out at 15 years old drinking Diet Mountain Dew, y'all, which is what we had for energy drinks before we had proper energy drinks like Red Bull, Monster, Celsius, and Rockstar. So why did I quit? I became a quitter because the reward I got from drinking caffeine was shrinking and the side effects were getting worse. The absolute worst effect for me personally is the feeling of low blood sugar about an hour after drinking coffee. At first, coffee makes me feel great, but after maybe an hour to an hour and a half, my stomach started to hurt, I started to feel super hungry, and I would get shaky and jittery. My energy would tank, and sometimes I would even sweat a little bit. It was not a good feeling. The only thing that would fix my low blood sugar was to eat a bunch of carb-filled food. That's what got me. Even if I had just eaten breakfast, if I had coffee, I would be stuck with this overwhelming need to eat bread, sweets, cookies, something high carb to kill this jittery, uneasy sensation that I would get. I did not like the lack of control I had over this. I could not really enjoy coffee much because of this yucky feeling. After discussing this with others, why I quit caffeine, I found I'm not the only one that gets this side effect of this low blood sugar hypoglycemia feeling. There are others that get this side effect from caffeine. Someone on the RDCaf Reddit explained it this way. Yep, you get a spike in cortisol, which raises blood sugar as your body is expecting you to need the energy. Since you're doing nothing to burn the excess sugar, insulin is released to bring down dropping your blood sugar, end quote. I don't know if that's accurate or not from a medical viewpoint, but it's plausible, I suppose, and it certainly felt that way. I did a little research and learned there are a few studies out there that show that caffeine can affect insulin response. This might be why coffee leaves me feeling hypoglycemic. Studies linked in the description. That's why I quit coffee. The hypoglycemic episodes quit as soon as I stopped drinking coffee. It was easy as that. But that's not where this story ends. Stay tuned to hear more positives and negatives I experienced that I want to tell you about. How was quitting? I've been caffeine free for 253 days as of the making of this video in June of 2023. The first day after quitting was not too bad. Day 1. So, even though that first day was okay, I later learned that this may be because caffeine stays in your system for a while, up to 12 hours. So it may still have been active in my system that first day. Day 2. The second day, I got a massive headache. The headache lasted about 3 days. Tylenol helped, but I tried to stay in bed and chill. I quit on a Friday, so I had the weekend to deal with it. I've tried to quit coffee about 100 times before, so I knew the headache was coming. I joined this decaf subreddit, which was a huge help to me. I would visit every day and exchange stories and advice with fellow quitters just about every single day. I went back and read my post and comment history so I could give you guys an accurate picture of how my recovery progressed. I know it sounds dramatic to call it recovery because most people don't consider caffeine to be a serious drug, but for me, it really had an effect on my life. And quitting also had a huge effect on my life. Quitting caffeine is not as serious as quitting hard drugs, and I don't mean to compare it like that. But there were adjustments for me after quitting caffeine. So here's my journey, quitting caffeine week by week. The journey experience, week 1 and 2. The first day was good, as I mentioned. The second day started with the headaches and some pretty extreme fatigue. I had no energy, day or night, for the first 2 weeks and spent as much time as my family and work would allow just resting. Weeks 3 and 4. After about 2 weeks, the sleepiness got a little bit better, but I would say I was about 35 to 40% there at 2 weeks. Keep in mind, at this point, I have a solid 6 months with no caffeine. For sure, the first 2 weeks without caffeine are the worst. I continued to do my morning workout routine even at this point, even though my motivation to do so was zero. I just made myself do it. My workouts those first few weeks and up to a month later sucked. I did not give it my all and I did not care. What was important to me was that I kept the routine while my body and brain healed. And that's what mattered to me at that point. I gave myself a lot of grace as far as the quality of my workouts that first month, and I was happy just to keep the routine intact. 1 month point. At about a month, I noticed that my workouts were getting easier. And to my surprise, I was a much calmer person. My anxiety, especially social anxiety, seemed to diminish quite a bit. I didn't even realize the extent of my anxiety until I quit, to be honest, because after quitting, I could feel such a contrast between how I was before and how I was now, especially in social situations. At 1 month, I would say I had about 50% good energy days and 50% tired days. But I would still run out of steam at about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and naps were awesome when I could get them. At this point, I kept myself motivated by visiting the decaf subreddit and remembering how awful the hypoglycemia and the jittery crap feeling was when I would drink coffee. I constantly reminded myself that in 6 months I would be feeling much better and to give myself the time that I owed myself that time. I reminded myself that the way I felt now is not how I would feel forever. It will pass and it will get better. And I do indeed feel so much better at 6 months caffeine free. More on that in a minute. Another thing I noticed after a month was that I started dreaming again. I stopped having dreams, or at least I cannot remember them. And now I was dreaming every night since I quit. And my sleep, oh my gosh, my sleep has been great. 2 months post caffeine. At around 2 months post caffeine, I started having more good energy days than tired days. Keep in mind, I have a 30-year history with caffeine, so if you're trying to quit and you've been drinking caffeine for less than 30 years, I'm hoping that you're gonna have a faster recovery time than me as well. So another weird thing I noticed about quitting caffeine, maybe not so weird, but I also noticed that boring tasks like paperwork and other things that I don't like to do was completely shot. I just didn't want to do them and I couldn't do them. I had no motivation to do them. I had no motivation to do crappy tasks. That has not changed at this 6 month point. You might consider this a drawback, but for me, it was like discovering and honoring my own truth that I just don't like to do crappy stuff. Caffeine helped me do things I did not want to do. Caffeine made boring tasks easier to do. That's some real food for thought, folks. Caffeine is a drug that can make paperwork more interesting. That's kind of sad, really. No wonder every work break room has a coffee maker. But why should we be motivating ourselves to pursue fervently things we do not care about instead of our passion and our purpose? 3 months post-caffeine. After about 3 months, I noticed my old self coming back online. I was about 80% good energy days at 3 months. After trying to quit so many times, I was really happy with myself that I made it to 3 months. At this point, I also noticed how much sleep affects how I feel the next day. If I go to bed too late, or I wake up too early, that combined with the fact that I no longer mask these issues with caffeine can lead to me having a tired day. So sleep became super important to me. I just want to take a step back for a minute and a quick reminder, if you are enjoying this content so far, it would be a huge help to me to hit that like and subscribe button as it gets this content out there to others that might benefit. I am more relaxed, I am more creative, and I'm more true to my authentic self. I can walk into a restaurant or a store and maintain my frame and be completely relaxed and chill and unbothered by the other people there. Before, I would have felt weird or anxious, worrying about how I was coming across or what people thought of me. What a silly way to live, now that I think about it. I have been loving being calm and present and relaxed all day. That was not the case before. I'm less in my head all the time. and I have been able to become the observer. My anxiety is disappearing. Before, when I would walk into a public place, my tummy would subconsciously tighten up as a stress response. I might have wondered what people think of me. Today, I have more confidence and I'm more relaxed. Instead of wondering what people think of me, I'm focused on the outer world more, and I think, what do I think of that world? The focus has changed and my anxiety has changed along with it. Here's a social anxiety cheat code if you suffer from social anxiety. Instead of wondering how people view you, focus on how they make you feel and if you like them instead. In fact, this has become my social anxiety cheat code. Instead of wondering how people view me, I flip the script and I ask myself, what do I think of them? Anxiety solved. And it feels even better when I ask myself, what ways can I see their light? I believe we're all created by and are a part of source energy and have this light within us. This both gets my focus off of me and helps me see the other person and to see the light in the other person. Since I quit coffee because it would make me hypoglycemic, the reduction in anxiety and increase in mindfulness was a huge bonus. And I value that as much as I do the ceasing of the hypoglycemia. So, thank you for hearing my story. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And that's it, babe. If you've enjoyed our time together, please like and subscribe so we can see each other again. Much love to all you beautiful souls out there. Safe and happy travels.